The Jays' asking price for their catchers has been revealed. We also got a Brandon Nimmo update, and Alek Manoah has praised the Canadian fan base. So we'll break that down and much more in this episode of Jays Digest. What's up, Jays fans? I'm your host, Peter Vryonis, alongside host Nick Gosse. We got a lot to get into today. Hopefully, the Jays make a move soon. But first, we want to thank you all for the support that we've been getting. It's been unreal.
Yeah, unbelievable. We're kind of close to 5K. We're less than 1,000 away. Hopefully to hit by Christmas. And if we do, we got something planned for you guys. So around 80% of you guys who are watching are not subscribed. So if you enjoyed the daily content, make sure to hit that button. But like you said, we got a lot of news to break down. No major moves were made by Ross Atkins at the winter meetings, but we had some stuff released yesterday that we're going to get into now. So the first thing is a pretty big Jays trade update in the sense of we kind of got revealed a package that people or other teams were seeking to get from the Blue Jays for Danny Jansen particularly. So I'll pop up the first screenshot right here. It also talks about the Athletics. Obviously, Sean Murphy is another big target, but the Athletics sought a return of outfielders Lars Nootbaar, Brendan Donovan, and a power young pitcher like Gordon Grace FO in exchange for Murphy and 3 years of control. The Cardinals received a lot of interest in Nootbaar. He was also coveted by Toronto in talks about a trade for Danny Jansen. Cardinals and Toronto discussed deals centered around a closer with some discussions of Ryan Hesley, sources described. So, first of all, before we get into the Jays part, Sean Murphy, Oakland is asking for a haul. They're asking for all three, Nootbaar, etc. In Toronto, I'm sure they were asking for Nootbaar, and I believe it shows in a screenshot later they were, but the Cardinals were not willing to budge on that, and they were discussing a deal about Ryan Hesley.
Yeah, that's probably why they went out and got Wilson Contreras. I mean, that's an unbelievable package that they're asking for Sean Murphy. I get he's one of the top five catchers in the major leagues. He's probably a little bit better than Danny Jansen. He's a Gold Glove winner as well. So I get why they were asking for that much, but I mean, if you're the Cardinals, that just makes no sense. And Ryan Helsley should be untouchable. This guy throws 103, struck out uh he struck out the side in the All-Star game. The guy is nuts. Like why would they get rid of that guy? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, maybe if they thought they couldn't get Contreras, because obviously catching was with the retirement of Yadi Molina is a huge need, or was a huge need for them before they got Contreras. And from their perspective, at least, well, from my perspective, I think that I'm seeing it on Twitter as well. Honestly, trading for Danny Jansen would have been the better play for them compared to signing a 31-year-old Wilson Contreras who has below average defense is just going to age poorly, in my opinion. He'll end up being maybe a pretty good hitter, but I don't know. Obviously, Presley's a phenomenal. I would love to get Presley if I was a Jays fan. I don't know about a straight one-for-one for Danny Jansen. I don't really know how the value lines up, but if that ended up being the case, then I don't know if I would have been upset.
Oh, I mean, Helsley is unbelievable. No, he's untouchable. He's the closer for the St. Louis Cardinals who are trying to win a World Series. They're not going to get rid of a guy like that. And even for Danny Jansen, like the value just doesn't match up. And to include him alongside Lars Nootbaar and other guys, Brendan Donovan, who could play all over the diamond, it just doesn't make sense from the Cardinals' point of view. And now I could see why they dipped their toes into the free agent market and didn't even bother looking for a trade there.
Yeah, like the first trade, Oakland was basically asking for. I don't think they were asking for Presley. They're asking for like everyone else besides him. And the Jays were going for Presley and Nootbaar. The same thing happens. This basically says the same thing. One industry source believes the Cardinals never engaged on Lars Nootbaar, but tried to make a deal with Ryan Hesley instead. So the Cardinals were interested in it, maybe, and most likely they were asking for Danny Jansen plus something else in exchange for Hesley. But we'll have to see where it goes from there. I have another screenshot to pop up here from Ben Turner, just a Jays Twitter guy saying Jays being in on Jansen, and now we hear they were talking to the Cards about Hesley. Jansen being Kenley Jansen, just to clarify. Seems maybe they want one more power arm in the bullpen, then maybe a back end starter, as Shai said in his recent piece. And he's alluding to Liam Hendriks. Now, I don't know. It seems like the Jays want to add another high-end reliever in that bullpen, especially if they were targeting Ryan Hesley. So, do you have any other targets, or maybe a Liam Hendriks type that you think they could go for?
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I feel like the bullpen is like the least concerning part of this team right now. And a couple months ago, if you were to say that, I would say you were crazy. But right now, I mean, the Jays' biggest needs are two starting pitchers. If they do bring Ross Stripling back, then it's one starting pitcher and an outfielder, a left-handed hitting outfielder, and maybe even another infielder that can kind of play a little bit all over the place. So those are their biggest needs right now. The bullpen seems to have kind of rounded into shape with the additions of Eric Swanson, but I would like another guy in there that throws 97 plus, that would really bolster the bullpen and make the Jays a much better team in my opinion. But I think right now that's not the pressing issue. Maybe another lefty in the bullpen. Of course, you can always add and make your team better. That you can never stop making additions, but right now there are other needs that need to be addressed, and that's that in my opinion.
I agree. And the bullpen is, I think it's a bit far away, not super far away, but far away from being a World Series bullpen. But we need starting pitching and we need outfielders, and we can figure out the bullpen after those things are addressed. Obviously, it doesn't have to go in that order, but we have some glaring holes. And just to finish up on this topic, I have this little screenshot here, some other players they might be targeting, which includes the lower tier of free agents and the starting pitchers: Corey Kluber, Drew Smiley's, Ross Striplings of the world, and they're not really in on Carlos Rodon. So when it comes to this relates to the potential trade, maybe they'll be trying to move one of their catchers for a starting pitcher. And Ross Atkins said, "Do we need to add someone that can pitch in the top three? Not necessarily, but we would like to add a starter," which is not too doesn't give us too much hope. But I'm starting to think they're going to end up trading one of their catchers for a starting pitcher rather than an
Yeah.
outfielder.
Yeah, I'll just say something before we move on to the next topic here. It's not even about filling holes at this point. Like right now, you need a star player to move the needle, in my opinion, because if you just plug in the holes that you created and try to basically just have I don't know, average players fill those positions of need, then you're not moving yourself any closer to a World Series title. Like we showed it last year. We had some star players, but we didn't have enough depth. Like we didn't have enough really good players to make ourselves like an all-around team. We had to rely on a few guys, and we just didn't get it done once the time came around. So I I don't like the fact that we're looking to kind of, I don't know, shop in the lower tier of the market, in the trade market as well. I'm not a fan of that because I really do think the Jays are a lot further from a World Series than Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro seem to think, and they need some star power, whether that be Brandon Nimmo or a high end starter. It needs to happen, and I'm not saying they got to rush into a move, but you can't just go into the season with a bunch of like average players to fill out your roster. You gotta go for a star at some point.
Yeah, you got to replace Teoscar with someone at least his level and hopefully a bit better. And as you can tell, Peter's a little bit fed up with the Blue Jays winter meetings moves. He's off camera
Yeah.
as well. He's been upset. Like I'm sure most of you guys watching are disappointed at the very least. But speaking of stars, let's move into the next topic, which is Brandon Nimmo news. We have a little bit of news regarding Brandon Nimmo that dropped today that gave us a little bit of hope. All of this we've been speculating, a fair bit, and we don't know if we're any closer to getting Brandon Nimmo, but maybe compared to yesterday, the Blue Jays reportedly, quote, love Brandon Nimmo, who could wind up landing a 6-year deal. And there's pessimism regarding the Mets' chances of retaining Brandon Nimmo. Giants are a team to watch there. So these two things kind of work together in the sense, obviously it says the Giants are a team to watch. It seems the sweepstakes to come down to the Jays, the Giants, and the Mets. And today a lot of reports came out from Morrissey and Andy, someone else, I forget his last name, but basically saying Brandon Nimmo and the Mets there's some pessimism there about him re-signing, which is a good sign for the Blue Jays if we just have to compete with the Giants. However, we need to be ready to throw the bag at him. And saying the Blue Jays reportedly love Brandon Nimmo is kind of obvious. I love the Blue Jays. It doesn't mean I'm going to be playing for them ever in my life. So I don't know. Well, hopefully it means something that they're going to go for him.
Look, man, the Giants and the Mets, they've shown that they will not be outbid in whoever they're going for. And the Blue Jays, in order to get a guy like Brandon Nimmo, for whatever reason, I think they're going to have to pay more money than those teams. And the Giants did not want to get outbid by the Yankees for Aaron Judge, but he already had his mind made up. I'm sure the Giants threw the bag at him. They were ready to commit long term to Aaron
Exactly.
Judge, but he just wanted to go back to New York. It's not that the Giants didn't pony up, so who's to say we can outbid the Giants? Who's to say that we have a more attractive free agent destination than San Francisco? I don't know. Like you're gonna have to overpay. You're gonna have to pay more than those teams to get Brandon Nimmo, and that's the first thing. And you're gonna have to make sure that he wants to come here. So those are two obstacles that you gotta overstep. And like Nimmo would be the perfect guy at this point. And considering the market, considering what Yoshida got from the Boston Red Sox, a
90,
guy
yeah.
that's never even stepped foot in a major league batter's box, Brandon Nimmo is gonna get paid, and he's gonna get paid a lot.
Yeah, and the reports are surfacing that I think Nimmo wants at least 6 years. So maybe the Giants only want to give him 5, and the Jays step up and give him that 6 year, and that's what it takes. And if that is what it takes, we need to do it. There's no more, a lot of the upper end free agents are gone. Bogart signed yesterday to a crazy deal with the Padres, and tons of stuff is going down. If we get Nimmo, I can consider it a successful winter meeting. We can just extend it there. We still have some other things to address, but Nimmo would be phenomenal. And it's I don't know, it's getting a bit concerning. I'm still not fully concerned. I know you are a bit more upset. I'm a bit disappointed that Ross hasn't done anything. He's been going on these shows, but let us know in the comments what your thoughts are on Brandon Nimmo. And a bit of positive news today. As a pop one more time, we love him, and the Mets are pessimistic. So hopefully we are able to compete with the Giants. But knowing our luck, some random team might swoop in and grab them, just like we have in the past couple of years with Ryu and Springer. But going on to a happier note to end the video here, we had Alek Manoah praises Canada, and I saw a few tweets after what I'm about to show you guys, and there's really no one else I'd rather have lead our team for the next decade than Alek Manoah. Basically, from Kevin God, a fellow content creator and YouTuber, he says, starting to think MLB players really don't like Canada. Either that or somebody has Ross Atkins locked in the trunk. Manoah says, being the only team that represents an entire nation is a blessing, especially an entire country that is passionate about all their sports teams. And Toronto being a very diverse and fun city to play in is amazing too. It's a beautiful opportunity for us. Now, let's just touch on this very quickly before we wrap it up. What are your thoughts on this tweet and, or Alek Manoah in general? He's going to be our future, and we need to get an extension ASAP.
Yeah, for whatever reason, there's a stigma around Toronto. There's a stigma around Canada. But once a player actually comes here, they realize how special this fan base is, and they kind of fall in love with the city, and they want to stay there long term. Obviously, barring like a few exceptions, like in basketball or in hockey,
Kawhi.
like Kawhi Leonard. But this is just it's something different. It's a totally different experience, and once a player finally gets immersed into the Blue Jays culture, into the Toronto culture in general. They fall in love with the diversity of the city, and they want to spend the rest of their careers here, at least in most cases. So that's the thing. I don't know why there's a sort of like inferiority complex when it comes to Toronto sports teams, and we kind of feel like we have to prove ourselves all the time to the rest of the league. But once a guy gets his foot in the door here, um, he just loves it. And Alek Manoah kind of describes that perfectly. I hope he'll be a Blue Jay for life.
Yeah, I agree. And with the Blue Jays, sorry, we've signed a lot of major free agents recently, so I think that stigma's starting to go
We
away.
have.
But at the same time, this offseason's been disappointing, so I can see why he said that. And huge shout out to Alek Manoah. And a funny reply to that tweet was Kevin at the end says either that or someone has Ross Atkins locked in a trunk. And Manoah says that he loves Canada, so I wonder if he's implying that Ross is in danger of any sorts. But I don't know. It's gonna be wild. It was a pretty busy news day, but the winter meetings are officially over, so no more moves will come from that. But we still have the rest of the offseason to make additions, make trades, and hopefully, I fully expect that Ross Atkins will do something soon to hopefully put a smile on our faces. But hopefully, you guys are enjoying the video, and hopefully, we're putting a smile on your faces with this video in these hard times with the Jays' lack of moves. But we'll see you guys tomorrow, and thank you again for the support.
Thanks.